Hello everyone, good morning. Good morning to day 12 of Creative Emotional Intelligence. I wanted to stop everything because it's so important that I share a message with you, a message of hope. We're all needing hope right now. We're all needing, to believe that we will be safe and that we deserve to do everything in our power to make us feel safe. And I wanted to just really talk to you guys about that today because I care deeply about each and every one of you. I've read your messages by the hundreds that are starting to come in. I've read about your anxiety. I've read about the family obstacles. I've read about, the cabin fever feelings or symptoms that we're all experiencing. I've read about the emotional intensity. I've read about, people that can't visit their parents and that are alone. I've read about breakups and, emotional overwhelm and insecurity of not even feeling safe from within. And I'm guilty of being caught up in teaching and not so much about connecting. And so I want to recognize that, and I want to be able to share with you guys, my deepest sympathy and my apology for doing good. But doing good isn't always the best thing when you can't take a moment to just stop and recognize how people are feeling and really considering them. So I've tried my best to write to each and every one of you individually something specific, because I do feel your pain. I know what it's like to go through those bad days. I want to share with you guys, I just opened up to this. So sometime last year, this is one of my days, and that doesn't mean anything to you. But on this day, I'll share with you what I was feeling. I was resentful. I was hostile. I felt withdrawn. I felt distant. I felt judgmental, just criticizing everything. I felt disapproval that I should probably be somewhere else at this point in my life, or disapproval of other people that I'm thinking, I felt loathing, which this loathing was, just really feelings, just really repugnant about myself. I felt repugnant, which is also in disgust. I felt disappointed in just the overall experience that I was having, maybe that I shouldn't even be having it, right? And so maybe some guilt that I was experiencing. So I felt that. I felt awful. I just felt awful, right? I felt revulsion. Like inside of me was all of this emotional revulsion, right? Which is not anger, it's in disgust. It's in this really difficult emotional space. I felt detestable, like I hated this situation so much, right? I just didn't like it, right? And detest is in hate, and that's also in anger. So you'll see that some of the feelings that you have in here, you'll also have in here. But the ones I'm talking to you about are just in that one feeling of disgust. Because what we know is that as I cover this, let me share this with you. I'm sharing with you what I was feeling. I didn't know I was feeling disgust. So that's the beginning, right? So I didn't know that that's what I was feeling. Inside of disgust, you have all of these branches that our brain feels the overwhelm and the sensation of this. But you see, it's like, it's left hanging. It's like, yeah, I feel that, but like, what more can you tell me, brain, about what I'm processing here? And so our brain is constantly working to try to figure that out. We have 5 minutes. So as I'm sharing this with you guys, this process, as I started scratching off I remember there was a part before I knew it was disgust that I didn't know it was disgust. But all I knew is that I had this huge menu of about 200 words. And whichever ones I felt, I got to get the feeling inside of me, the emotional energy release, because we are all energy. So energy in motion is emotion. So feelings are on the inside. Your brain's constantly trying to figure them out. It doesn't know. And only in the transfer of the recognition of that feeling, then you'll transfer your energy by saying, yes, it's you'll scratch it off. You'll be like, yes, I am feeling disapproval. And your brain all of a sudden is like, oh, well, that's a good sign. Because at least now I'm starting to, and then you'll see another word, right? You'll see maybe a word like remorseful, and maybe you're not remorseful, you leave that alone. But in this process, again, helping your brain, judgmental, I was judging, and I was like, okay, brain, yeah. I still didn't know it was disgust, because we figure that out in the next page. So at first, we have to see everything we're feeling. Most of us, from what I've read, in comparison to some of my worst days, that's why the name of this book is My Worst Days Are the Best, because I've had to transform my pain in a positive way. Otherwise, I couldn't be alive. And so in moments where I was feeling this emotional intensity, but I couldn't recognize it, this book, this process, the loathing, I was like, oh my God, yes, it is loathing. My brain understood. So now it's getting those cues back. So at first, we have this feeling that's coming out, and all those signals are going out, but if the information doesn't come back in a way that the brain can receive it and acknowledge it on the inside to validate its experience, not validate ego, but validate its emotional experience, that matters, because that brain of yours, that beautiful brain that God gave you, is just trying its best to feel safe. And so, by understanding the signals, when we use tools, now that we're having emotional overwhelm from all the change, now we need to have the right tools to help our brain find peace and control and safety from within. And if every household member can do that, then at least there'll be peace within, and there might be peace without. And that's everything for all of us right now as we're experiencing this moment. And so I felt awful. I knew that I didn't know I felt awful, but I felt it, right? I felt it. Then I saw this process and I was like, yes, brain, it is awful. Yes, brain, it is judgmental. Yes, brain, it is this. And the brain starts reacting. It's like, okay, thanks for the signal, right? It's like, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And it'll thank you in peace. It'll thank you in how you feel when you process. And so I was feeling avoidant too, avoidance, like leave me alone, I really hate everyone, I don't want nothing, I just want to go away, right? And even if I felt that to myself on my own, I got to recognize it, so I sent the signal back to my brain, and the brain, again, the reptilian brain, the mammalian brain, they're not going to hate me or like disapprove. No, it's just a mechanism for understanding. It wants to find emotional safety by understanding. That's it. And so a lot of us have these signals that are going nowhere. So we have endless signals, right? This is just in the realm, because there are 6 different realms, right? So there's a tree of joy with all of these different things that your brain is needing to identify. And then you have this thing of sadness, and you have all these things, all in sadness, you have things, I don't want to say it, because if I start saying it, you'll get ideas, and I think if we process together, that's the healthiest way. I'm just sharing with you all of the potential signals, right? So in fear, you might say I'm scared, but in fear there's different realms, right? So in fear there's insecure, and you might be feeling insecure, so you scratch that out. You say, yes, brain, that too, and the brain says, oh, thank you. Because the brain right now could be feeling 50 to 80 different feelings. For some of you, really extreme cases, like I'm the most, I don't know, the most, I'm a highly extreme case. PTSD, chronic depression, general anxiety disorder. I mean, I have a bunch of things that because of my Marine background, of all the things that I've been through, I've been diagnosed with. But through creation, I've been able to express my pain. And every single signal now that comes back to my brain, I'm able to now tell my brain, okay, brain, this is what I want to do with that energy, right? Because energy in motion equals emotion, which is on the outside. And feeling is the recognition of these feelings on the inside. And this is at the level of creative emotional intelligence, not just emotional intelligence. And we will get to that. So I don't want to confuse anybody. If you're an emotional intelligence expert, I'll just share it with you. Emotional intelligence is at the level of cognition, not creation. So creative emotional intelligence is at the realm of physics. It's the use of energy for the transmission of self-esteem so that we can feel better by the work that we do using our feelings as emotional energy. So we feel, we see everything. There's going to be tons of feelings that you've never identified before. But at least having scratched them off and given your brain the cue, your brain's going to say, oh, thank you for that new information. I've been needing that. I have been needing to know this one. I've been needing to know that one. I've been needing to know this one and that one. Because most of us only know about 5 to 10 feelings off the top of our head. And we feel about 200. So do you see that you're only able to express the ones you know? The ones you don't know? If you cannot express, then the majority of what you're feeling is simply the opposite of express, which is depress. It has not been released. And we will get to that too. Just want to show you guys a little bit about what's going to take place and why this is so important. And, I want to give you some hope to let you know that there is a way and we're going to get through this together. I will be with you guys 7 days a week unless they call an order for here in South Florida, if they call for a stay-at-home order or stay in place. We'll have to figure it out. If they do that, I have to come and pack up and take stuff. I don't know how we'll do it, but we'll get through this together. So, thank you guys for being with us today. I hope that this helps you start to begin to see how we have to detangle. And remember, the reptilian brain, if you have been watching us, it doesn't know. It doesn't know. So that's why it has to be fed first from the outside so that when those signals come back in, according to the feelings that you're going through, because we're all going through different ones. All kinds of patterns. And what we're trying to help you develop is start seeing what your emotional patterns look like. Because once we recognize what that emotional intensity, that emotional ambivalence, which is feeling intense good and bad feelings at the same time, and seeing which patterns are being revealed, we'll develop these patterns over 12 days. So maybe 2 times a week. So maybe 2 times a week over the course of, I guess maybe 8 weeks, 8, 9, 10 weeks, and, on a need-by-need basis or a case-by-case basis, then we'll definitely, add some more to it. So at least you guys are able to see that. Tomorrow we'll continue, so I hope that, you're feeling better today. I hope that today's could be a better day for you. I hope that you know that we are here for you and we're going to build this community together. Because actually, I do want to share one more thing since I have you here, because this is so important. talking about hope and talking about feeling good and talking about feeling worthy. And you are worthy, and you're important. You're important to me. You're important to me, and you are absolutely necessary, and you matter. Okay, so this is called the Seesaw of Self-Esteem, and they use this a lot when people are feeling a lot of heavy emotions, right? And so we know that the major ones are depression and we know that it's anxiety. Depression is anger expressed inwardly, or how we define it, is still repressed, so it has not been released effectively as an emotional as a distribution of feelings into emotions, according to creative emotional intelligence. Anxiety is fear of uncertainty. When you start looking at people that start experiencing this heavy stuff, this depression and heavy anxiety and heavy stress, which I think we're all going through right now because so much change and it's just overwhelming to our feelings and we can't think. So we're just stuck in this feeling that we can't identify, and that's why we're doing this work. Self-esteem goes down because this is so heavy. And in order for us to be able to develop a good self-esteem so that we feel worthy and we feel worthwhile, number one, we need a team. A team that helps us solve problems. So for your emotional problems, we are here. And we are going to help you get through this together because your self-esteem matters to us. That's the most important thing. And number two is that with the help of this team and us teaching you creative emotional intelligence, you will feel worthwhile. Because you're going to do things with your feelings you'd never imagined. You're going to learn completely new things that you've never thought about. You're going to learn methods of creation and self-expression that no one's ever thought about. You're going to learn things through creative emotional intelligence that's going to allow you to really feel so beautifully connected and really let go of the things that are happening on the inside and focus on you on the inside. Because you are important and you are necessary. And you matter, okay? And so we want to help you develop this self-esteem by taking this depression, right, which is anger, and this anxiety. You see, it's a feeling, and then a team, which you have with us, and then worthwhile, which is another feeling. So we're up against, these guys. And in the realm of depression is inferior, is the boredom, is the overwhelm. In anxiety or in anger, you also have the hate. There's things that happen in your life that no one could have controlled, and you're still holding them in. And if we just see it, we just take a moment to do this and feel it, and then we'll just identify that it's there, but we don't have to go back and talk about it. No, we can give it new meaning because we can open up new branches for these things, and then these new branches can have a new purpose. So whatever happened in the past, it stays in the past, but with this, we give a new purpose as we get new words, because emotions are created in the mind as predictions of a moment, always going back into the past. But you and I, we're going into the future. We're going into a new place. We're going into a place where we can create, we can be a reflection of our Creator using the internal resources that He's given us, which is this emotional energy. It's a beautiful resource given to us by our inner being, which is the Spirit for you if you're a Christian. The inner being that we all have, we can use and we can liberate. And what that inner being right now is asking for in giving us all of this emotional, it's like, let me out of here. Let me come to life. I have beautiful ideas. I am important and I am here for you. But in our depression and lack of creative emotional intelligence education, No one's just ever taught us this kind of stuff. So I promise you we're going to do this together. I promise you I'm going to show you, I'm going to give you the techniques, and we're going to walk through it together. We'll form special groups. We'll do Zoom chats. We'll do all the stuff. So together as a community, thousands of people all around the world, we can come together and celebrate this creative expression. So we come out of this more resilient, and we come out of this stronger. We come out of this more willing and more focused and more resolved to be able to honor our feelings, and eventually you'll get so good at this. You're going to feel something and be inspired and let that thing come out. And it's going to be beautiful because we're going to go through 30 different creative experiments. So at the end of this whole thing, after the 30 days, you're going to have 30 different new routes. 30 new routes. 30. 2, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. For every feeling, for all 200. So in the future, you're going to say, oh, with these 5 feelings, I know that this is good for that, and this 5 feelings, and then this good for that, and this, and your self-esteem. And now you're transforming pain in a positive way. And you have us to help you, continue to give you the education tools, and anything that we can do to serve and to help you, we will. And then now that sense of worthwhileness is intrinsic because it's in you. You were created for this opportunity, and you know, as difficult as this is in this moment, we're all having a hard time. So it's still hard to be optimistic. It's still hard to have hope. It's still hard to feel good. It's still difficult. My kids are still running around. My parents still don't know what to do. My job and situation. And all of these thoughts, they create feelings. So just know we're gonna move this thing around. Okay? We're gonna, and I know you don't know, but hold on. I know you're doing a great job. If you pray, thank God every day that you're alive. Try to practice gratitude, you know, and that might not work all the time because there's so many more feelings getting in the way of us just being to be grateful. It's hard. It's hard. I know it's hard. And so stay with us. We're here with you fighting this thing every single day, and we're going to get through this together because we're a team, and self-esteem is no longer S-T-E-A-M. Self-esteem is now S-T-E-E-A-M. We're all doing this together. I'll see you guys tomorrow at 9:30.